Hey Trevor, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and look at your motion and talk about your mechanics and break it down frame by frame and kind of just make sure you're doing everything right, and just kind of make sure that you kind of get an understanding of your mechanics and the foundation, so as you get older and get a little bit stronger, you kind of know what you need to do and progress from there, because pitching's it's really a sort of a hard sort of concept for younger kids to grasp. It takes a lot of coordination, a lot of balance, a lot of strength, especially in the lower half, and it's something that at your age, kids just don't have that ability yet, and so it's good to kind of understand the basis of everything. How we use our lower half, how we use our legs to generate power and velocity. So as you get older and get that strength there, it comes a lot easier than it will. So we'll go through and kind of explain a little bit more in detail. But basically, for the most part, starting off right off the bat, we'll go back here to the start. All right, we look at your setup. All right, we'll draw a circle over your head here. What we look for here is balance. All right, what we want to look for is weight on that back foot, head over that back foot. So as you start lifting your leg, as you can see here, the camera kind of shifts, but you're doing a really good job at staying over your back leg. All right, at this position, lifting your leg up, a lot of times you're going to see kids start shifting forward a little bit. So you're staying back over that back foot, which is really good. All right, and so now at this point, we're going to go through and get right to the height of your leg kick, which is right about here. All right, kind of hard to see for your eyes. You might be looking down. Just make sure once that leg starts going up, eyes on that, catch it the whole time. But what we want to try to see you get is, you can see you have a little bit of angle right here with that foot. All right, just try to keep that hip from moving. Try to get that foot over that back foot a little bit more. All right, and so what that does is that closes off your hips a little bit more. All right, what we want to get at this position here is we want our hips to lead our body, to lead our mechanics, our motion first. All right, we want the hips to get going down the hill before anything else really happens a whole lot. All right, so the whole timing of it is at this point, we want to see hands start to break, that ball start to come out of that glove, your hips start to go forward, and all this foot kind of does is just kind of lag behind and kind of follows behind your hips. But when it gets to this angle right here, you're going to have more of a tendency to kind of kick out with that foot instead of the hips right there. All right, so as we start walking through here, all right, you can see everything's, you're just a little bit late with your lower half. Okay, so if we're drawing a box around your hips right here, all right, as we start walking forward here, you can see how you just kind of just barely start peeking out of that box a little bit. All right, so once we kind of get going here, right when your foot's in about this position, we want to try to see you get down, going a little bit more. Whoops, wrong tool here. Try to get going a little bit more down the mound a little bit. All right, so and again, like I said, it's a strength thing, but you just want to try to get going with that lower half, with those legs driving off at the hips and everything. Just kind of right here, you can see there's just not a whole lot of momentum. And so just try to get that point of right when you hit that balance point, those hips, and you're just driving, exploding down the mound, and that's going to generate more velocity and power, especially as you get older and get stronger. All right, so as you're coming through, let's go back and look, make sure the hands are coming out. All right, so you can see here, as we're kicking forward, your hands are just a little bit late to come out of that glove. So you can see your foot's almost all the way down, and there that ball comes out, whereas we'd want to see that ball out a little bit earlier, right as your legs are going down, that ball's starting to come out. All right, so what I'm not talking about bringing that ball right out here, is you can just see how your hands are starting down, and just try to get a little bit more, down sort of that angle. All right, we don't want to see, so like right here, your hands would kind of start dropping with your leg. The ball doesn't necessarily need to come out immediately right there, but we just want to see movement down, kind of following your leg. You can see it kind of stays up there, and then the ball comes out here. Let's just try to get a little bit more action with those arms down. And, it doesn't create any more velocity, it's just kind of more of a timing mechanism to help you along. All right, so now as we get going down, Alright, what I want you to kind of look at is your lower half. Alright, again, the lower half is the basis of your mechanics. It's the foundation of velocity, consistency, everything. And so what we want to try to get is just the focus of using our lower half, and this upper half just kind of guides us along, make sure we're staying balanced. And so the biggest thing that I see with kids your age is if we're going, it's kind of hard to see because we can't see the catcher, but either way you're opening up early. Alright, we'd want you to see this foot try to come somewhere around this line a little bit more. Alright, so all this shows is that we're just pulling off early with our front side, alright, and we're losing our lower half. Alright, so right here your hips aren't going to be able to stay closed, and you're not going to be able to generate that power. But again, like I said, it's a function of just your age. And so just try to get that point, of just trying to stay closed. Draw a line down the mound, try to line right in line with that line. And that'll kind of help you as you get older and get stronger to kind of stay in line. But the biggest thing is just driving that body. Like I said, with your hips, you can see, your stride length is probably, 3/4 of what you could get. I'd like to see you try to get more about, 4 or 5 shoe lengths, just mark them off one after another, and try to kind of stride out there. And that's just using your legs, using the upper body. Your arms in a pretty decent angle here. Maybe work on trying to get that elbow up just a little bit more so it's not completely straight. We always want a little bit of flexion in your elbow. So as you get through your release point here, this video kind of gets a little bit grainy, but you can see how your arm was right here, and now it's down here. Alright, now it's down here, and then as you come through your release point, you can see that glove's completely on that picture. Alright, so what we want to try to get is that little bend in that elbow, and what that's going to do is that's going to help us rotate that elbow down while keeping our glove out front. Alright, so now what we'd want to see is, bringing your chest and your body towards your glove instead of the glove in towards your chest. So at this point, at that release point, we're still going to see that glove, out here somewhere. Alright, so you want to see that glove somewhere over that foot. Okay, and so what that's going to do is that's going to keep us closed longer, and then also landing with our front foot, somewhere a little bit more closed off. What that's going to do is allow us to use our legs more, but you're going to be able to drive through your back foot, and you're going to be able to get out and over your front foot as you release the ball. Alright, so now you're going to be out here, you're going to be creating an angle, you're going to be releasing the ball closer. Alright, now you might be releasing the ball here. But what that does is that just utilizes that lower half, and that gets you, throwing out over that front foot. Up here, you're basically standing straight up. We want to try to get you using that body, using that back, using those legs to get out over that front foot, to get everything on your body. Through at this point here, after you release, you can see how. Let me get one more frame. You can see how you're just kind of basically everything's still on over that. Kind of almost standing up. At this point, we want to try to see that back and that leg, almost straight because you're using so much power. Alright, you're just driving everything down the mound. But, like I said, everything's pretty solid for your age. It's just so much a function of just getting older and getting stronger. But, it looks like you got a pretty good foundation of everything. And the biggest thing for you is just work on that time, and you already have good balance, but just work on landing, in line with that back foot straight towards that catcher. So when that strength comes, you're going to be set, ready to roll. So anyways, thanks for making it out to camp. Hopefully you had a great time, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.